A nation dividing itself, technology infringing on the liberties of citizens. But are these reasons to be frightened? Learn about all of this and more today on Revelation in the News.
Hello and welcome to Revelation in the News. I'm your host today, Ricky Bakker. Today we want to show you something that's happening in California. Take a look at this.
The United States may be losing a star from its flag for the first time ever. That's what activists in the state of California want. Ever since the election of President Trump, the campaign for Cal-Exit, the secession of California to become an independent country, has been gaining steam while the rest of us have been talking about Russia. Well, now supporters for that plan believe they are close to breaking away. They're pushing for a 2018 ballot referendum that would declare California no longer an inseparable part of the United States and would order the governor to negotiate for greater autonomy up to and including national independence as a country. If California becomes its own country, do you plan to give citizenship to the illegals within your borders? And do you intend to have a border policy as a country?
Yeah, certainly we're going to have a border policy. If you're a nation, you need your borders. Citizenship to illegals, definitely a pathway to citizenship that's much quicker than what the United States has right now. Definitely, you know, we want them, they're already working, we want them working without that stress. They're a key and integral part to California. We really need them to, they're the backbone of our economy, or the fifth largest economy, and they are really a big part of it. And so we want them to, you know, be comfortable here and have a good path to citizenship.
This man genuinely believes that California is able to become its own country and truly prosper.
Yeah. You know, I thought it was interesting, like what he was saying there, talking about how they're going to come up with a quicker program of having the illegal citizens become more legal, or actually legal. But the one thing I did want to ask James, what is the law on becoming or seceding from the Union?
Well, it's a very narrow road to secede from the Union or America. And that is, first of all, you have to get 2/3 vote from the House and the Senate. And you also have to be approved by 38 other states. And once that all happens, then you finally get your succession, vote. But after that, you still have to make laws. You have to vote for a president. You have to do all these other things. It's a lot of people say it's near impossible. And also, now that vote's not just for succession. That is to rewrite the Constitution to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
So it's a long, narrow road.
Wow. And you know, the other thing is, it's not just California. I mean, in 2008, 2009, there were many states that wanted to secede from the Union. I know Kansas was a part of it. Several states, Texas, and Texas has been one that has wanted to secede from the Union many times. I think I even read over 200 times.
Yeah.
Throughout history, they've wanted to secede from the Union.
Right.
Now, what was interesting is I even heard Long Island at one point wanted to secede from New York.
Yeah, they wanted to secede from New York, and that was a long shot. That was way more of a long shot. Actually, really, the only state that sort of, kind of has a way to do it is Texas.
Now, a question that we all probably have, and Tucker Carlson asked beautifully, is what do we do about the federal land in states like this?
What about all the federal land in California, the military bases in California? Those don't belong to the state. Do you pay market value for those?
So, yeah, the military bases we'd lease out just like Germany does and South Korea does. Just, pay a yearly fee to California.
So it's plain and simple. We pay California so we can stay on their land and protect them. Doesn't that make sense, guys?
Well, I do have a thought on that. Paying California, I could see it as an advantage because the United States does not want to lose territory that they're able to defend themselves. So if you have to move like another 500 miles back with your defenses, that would not help. If, let's say, China wanted to come rushing in, or some other country, and then you have to move your borders back, you have to move all your protection back, then I do believe that could become an issue.
The thing is, the large majority, or a large majority of California, they don't really believe in guns or those kind of laws. They have a lot of gun bans. So, James, what happens if a war breaks out against the country of California?
Well, let's just say that they will lose pretty bad.
Are we just going to defend them at that point? Is that what they're going to depend on us for?
Well, I know that. I mean, we got to see it like any kind of union with another country. We would, of course, write laws with them and get, maybe defend. But I think, yeah, we would defend them. But once again, it's such a messy policy and messy situation.
But the thing is, does California even want us defending them? They say that they have completely different values than we do.
You're using the words they and you. It sounds like you already don't think that you're part of the United States.
Well, this is California, Tucker. We're not the United States. Our values are different. We're fundamentally different in the way we act, we speak, and how we think about the world globally, whether it has to do with war, the climate, environment. We are just a different state. And I know you can understand it, you being from California, and I'm not sure how long you haven't been here yet, but we're going to do things that are going to be beneficial for our state, and we disregard what the United States thinks or even their laws. For example, our marijuana, sanctuary cities, if it's good for the state, we're going to do it, regardless of what the federal law is.
Imagine if someone lived in your home and they came up to you and said, you know what, I'm going to live in your home, but I completely disregard everything you say. I don't want to follow any of your rules. Well, how would that make you feel? That makes sense why they're trying to leave. He said that they have a completely different set of values than the United States.
And it even goes to the point where he says it doesn't matter what the president says, it doesn't matter what federal law is. I would like to ask the question to him, what if your citizens said that about you? It doesn't matter the laws that you make. I'm not going to abide by them because that's what you're doing to the president. He's supposed to call the shots.
Absolutely. Now, what happens if, states decide to secede? You said it's a very long, narrow road, but it could possibly, it's an option that could happen. Now, what happens if cities inside of those states want to rebel and they don't want to be a part of the state? I mean, it gets down, I know it sounds dramatic, but it gets down to things like that. You have to remember, it always starts with something small, and then it goes to something big, like cities not wanting to be a part of states. So they're rioting off.
That's a very interesting point, because once you get away from Los Angeles and San Francisco and San Diego, like those major hubs, I think you're starting to look at a group of people that's a lot more conservative than the surrounding Hollywood area.
Actually, one tech entrepreneur from Silicon Valley cut up the state of California in like 8 parts, 8 different states.
Wow.
Saying that's how different it is.
Now, the thing is, if this secession were to happen, already we're seeing the middle class leave. But if this were to happen, how many more people before it became its own permanent state would leave? How much of the middle class would be leaving?
My final question is, you've so mismanaged your little country or state or whatever we're calling it now, economically. There's been a massive exodus of middle-class Californians to neighboring states. Well, I mean, the numbers are there. I mean, you've lost hundreds of thousands of people making between $100,000 and $200,000 over the past 10 years, and they've enriched Idaho and Montana and even Wyoming and Washington State. Like, if it's such a well-run place, why is the middle class leaving?
So, Tucker, you have to look at the bigger picture here. So, 5th largest economy in the world. Now, if you have to repeat that, say it again. We are the 5th largest economy in the world.
Yeah,
you want to call that mismanaged? Fine.
No, but I mean, it's basically the economy of Mexico. You've got a small number of rich people, the tech people, and you've got a ton of poor people, and the middle class is leaving. Like, that's a recipe for instability. You're aware of that, right?
In regards to middle class leaving, that's actually a good thing. We need these spots opened up for the new wave of immigrants to come up. It's what we do. We're exporting our middle class to the United States. You guys should be thanking us for that. Not only that, when our middle class does move out to Texas and to Colorado, they're taking our values out to the United States and to Texas. So if you look at Texas, in fact, all the major cities that Californians are going to, they are turning blue. And soon enough, Texas will be a blue state.
Bottom line, are you being serious?
Well, I'm only admitting the truth. There's a middle class of people that are leaving California, and they're going to Oregon and Colorado and Texas. Yes, there is.
And you're happy about that?
I don't know how. Well, I mean, if they want to move, there's nothing for me to stop them. I mean, I'm sure they'll find out how boring it is, and they'll come back.
Wow. Well, I think it's worth mentioning, though, that people have been moving out of California in droves. It is just such an expensive place to live right now.
One of the craziest things that the guy said to Tucker Carlson in the interview, he said, whenever they move out of California, it's okay because they'll be taking our values with them. I'm pretty sure they're leaving because they don't have the same values as you.
That's exactly right.
They're leaving because they don't agree with you on those type of things. And like Cora said, the cost of living is way too high. It's way too ridiculous out there. Now, one thing we do know is that the middle class does love watching things like HBO. They love watching TV. So they're going out and doing these types of things, obviously. Yeah. So, James, you have a story about HBO.
Well, yeah, talking about Succession, actually. HBO has a new show that the creators of the big show Game of Thrones, those creators are making a new show called Confederate, where it is about America, present-day America, but what if the South actually succeeded with slavery and everything else? Well, some people got mad about that and have actually hacked HBO. If you remember earlier last year, I think it was last year or year before that, North Korea actually hacked Sony. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm seeing now today is that when someone's angry and they don't like something, they can literally take a giant conglomerate down. What can they do to me and you?
Now, this might be a news flash to everyone watching the program, but I do want to go ahead and let everyone know the South lost that war.
Yes.
The Confederate did not rise, and they will not rise again. So a show like this, James, why do you think it's such a big deal that people go to the extent of hacking it to get it shut down?
Well, the thing is they don't think that they can. I guess they can't handle the story, which actually I dived a little deeper within what the show Confederate will be about, and actually it will be highlighting people like the abolitionists and also like the freedom fighters. So it's just showing it's actually a commentary on modern issues with race and stuff. So it's not bad at all. It's not trying to be bad, but someone got angry, someone hacked, and they have already leaked movies, scripts, TV. Episodes. They've already done all this, and they said they'll do more this Sunday.
Well, I think it's another example of whitewashing history. I mean, we're hearing all the time of people trying to get rid of historical facts. And yes, we have had moments in our country that we are not proud of. But nonetheless, it is truth, and it is history, and it's something we need to learn from. And one of my favorite quotes is, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you came from. We need to learn from our mistakes and move on and accept that some things happened and we can do better.
If you can erase history, you can write whatever you want about it. You can
That's
write,
exactly right.
and I think, how are you going to learn from it if you have nothing to look back on?
That's right.
The thing is, books and things like that are starting to become antiquated, and this next generation is solely depending on technology. They're solely depending on computers to give them all their information. So with people being able to manipulate what the information is, how do you think this next generation is going to learn? James, you actually have a news story about Germany, and this goes right along with our subject of technology.
Yeah. Actually, German authorities have launched a 6-month test of automatic facial recognition technology at Süderkreis rail station, which the country's top security officials say could be used to improve security in the future. More than 200 people have volunteered to have their names and 2 photos stored for the project at Süderkreis station, where 3 cameras filmed the entrance of the station and an escalator. So what they're saying is that, now get this, 200 people have already volunteered to give them their pictures and their information to them. And I guess what this station does is when you walk in, they can read your face, know who you are, know your name, and also look up other photos of you to figure out who you are and maybe what social service you're in or social media service you're in. You
know what I find interesting is what we were talking about last week. We had that company Roomba selling off information about your house and all. And that's a small thing, and it really makes me wonder, how many other companies are going to be selling off your information, So we have people going ahead and giving away their facial recognition so that way they can be identified whenever they go into a public place or the train station, airport, places like that. How much further, how many more people's or groups or companies are giving away information that we don't yet know about?
Well, James, we talked about an article last week about an app that whenever you just quickly click the yes, I agree to all the terms and conditions, you're not going through and reading all the terms and conditions. They're scanning your face. They're telling you some of your hobbies. Things like this are becoming more and more normal every single day. And there's actually an article that says Facebook claims that they own your face.
Facebook owns your face, or at least they want to. Chicago resident Carlo Licata sued Facebook in 2015 as part of a class action lawsuit in Illinois state court, accusing the company of violating a one-of-a-kind Illinois law that prohibits collection of biometric data without permission. Facebook denied the charges, arguing that law doesn't apply to it. But behind the scenes, the social network giant is working feverishly to prevent other states from enacting a law like this one in Illinois.
I will say this is a little strange. I know when I upload a photo to Facebook, and I don't even have to tag my friends sometimes or myself, it already knows who is in that picture and is a suggested tag. And I have often wondered, like, where are they keeping that information? What else are they doing with it?
Well, it's very convenient. I don't want to have to go and, you know, type my friend's name in to tag them in the photo, so why not just use the suggestions that are giving to me?
Yeah.
James, I want you to just say one more time the statement you made last week, because that is such a powerful statement.
Yeah, and I was saying earlier, yeah, convenience trumps privacy every time. And it really does. And me and Cora were actually talking before about, you know, it's nice, you know, if they, you know, we're talking about, you know, if they see something in your room and they sell you something and they sell certain information, you know, some applications are good and okay, but when the applications reach a little further, when they kind of break that privacy wall that you put up, it gets kind of scary.
Well, it started off like Roomba. It started off as a vacuum cleaner, but now look at it. It's selling your information.
Well, what Facebook is wanting to do here is actually when you upload a picture, let's say you upload a picture of you hiking, then they would take that information and they would target ads based on that. Now, that sounds pretty cool, having an ad targeted to me because I have a cat in my picture or whatever else. But again, this information is held somewhere, and what if it's put into the wrong hands? And that's what's really scary, especially with facial recognition in that train station that we just talked about. Yeah. It always starts as a security issue. And remember what I talked about last week with the government going after Apple and saying that, you know, we need this information for a security purpose. So, you know, what would constitute that at that point?
You know, it's crazy. Things like this are happening all the time. Our face, they're being sold technically, because whenever you sign up for Facebook, you are giving everything that you have, all your information, your birthdays, all the information that you input on that website to them. And actually, WikiLeaks has released a docs of a program called Dumbo. And John, what is that?
A matter of fact, I found this very interesting. We haven't heard very much from WikiLeaks since basically Donald Trump has become president, but they just released another piece of Vault 7, which is a document which contains information on the CIA's hacking tools from a Dumbo project. Now, what this is the tool allows for the identification and control and manipulation of monitoring and detection systems like webcams, microphones, and targeting computers running Microsoft Windows and operating systems. So exactly what we've been talking about this whole time in the last couple of days in Stranger Things and Technology is you're losing your rights, you're losing your security, and you're losing your privacy all at the same time. And I think people are just giving their rights away without even blinking twice.
Oh, yeah.
The crazy thing is about this is I know that there used to be people who made fun of people who would buy the little stickers that you put over your camera on your computer, or buy the little thing that clamps on your phone so the front and back camera are hidden. And they would be mocked because, like, why would the government want to be watching you? But exactly for reasons like this. They want to know every little detail about you. And why is it? That's the question. Why do they need to know every detail down to the facial recognition feature?
Well, you know what you should look at is next time you look at your phone or your computer, you should just imagine that little sticker sitting there. It says, "Smile, you're on camera."
Yeah.
Just like when you go into Walmart.
Well, what's crazy is imagine all of these technologies that we just talked about combined. Imagine looking at your phone, which has the camera on the front, and it's noticing your face, it's noticing your facial expressions, and it's saying like, oh, wow, you look tired right now. So we're going to target ads based on, you know, how you look on your face. I mean, that's a little bit scary. And, you know, it's starting to sound like some kind of conspiracy movie, but it's really not that far off.
Actually, I don't know if you guys remember the story a couple of years ago that thieves or hackers hacked into a baby cam, and actually there's footage of the baby actually in the crib. They actually hacked into a baby monitor. If they can hack into a baby monitor in your home, what can they do to the computer?
Right.
And you know, and what if the government gains access to that? Based on legalities and things like that.
Well, due to social media websites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, every time you take a picture and upload it, people already know what you look like. And those pictures last forever. And if you're interested in living forever, James has an article for you.
Yeah. There's been a major breakthrough in cryogenic freezing. It may sound like something ripped straight from Star Wars, but experts in the U.S. have shown that they can preserve brains and bodies in a state of suspended animation, where they freeze an individual to sub-zero temperatures and revive them at a time of choosing in the future. Researchers have so far only achieved this in zebrafish embryos. Scientists say that it has been a major breakthrough, as 60 years worth of similar testing has proven unsuccessful.
Man, like you said, I feel like we're listening to a storyline from like Star Trek or Star Wars.
That's why I saw the story. I was thinking of Han Solo.
But why a zebrafish?
You know, we see all these things in technology, these stranger things in technology, and sometimes these can be used as tools to distract us from more pressing issues that are happening. Now, these things are dangerous and they are invading our privacy, so I'm not belittling them in any way, but we have things like this happening. North Korea has ICBM missiles.
Yes, matter of fact, North Korea recently has launched an intercontinental ballistic missile designed to carry a nuclear weapon that could reach the United States West Coast and perhaps the Midwest. Listen to Lindsey Graham and what he has to say on this matter.
On the subject of North Korea, the president has said, we'll handle North Korea, we're going to be able to handle them, it will be handled. In your opinion, over the next year, is it more likely that there is some sort of military conflict on the Korean Peninsula, whether that's a surgical strike or something larger, or is it more likely that North Korea will cement its place as a nuclear threat in the world?
Well, this is the ultimate question. I know it's early in the morning, but President Trump has said, I will not allow them to get an ICBM with a nuclear weapon on top to hit America. They're headed that way. The only way they're going to change if they believe there's a credible threat of military force on the table.
Are you saying it's okay to use a military option that immediately endangers the lives of millions of people in that region?
I'm saying it's inevitable unless North Korea changes, because you're making our president pick between regional stability and homeland security. He's having to make a choice that no president wants to make. They kicked the can down the road for 20 years. There's no place else to kick it. There will be a war with North Korea over their missile program if they continue to try to hit America with an ICBM. He has told me that. I believe him, and if I were China, I would believe him too, and do something about it. You can stop North Korea militarily or diplomatically. I prefer the diplomatic approach, but they will not be allowed to have a missile to hit America with a nuclear weapon on top, and to allow them to do that is really abandoning homeland security.
Wow. Well, last time we heard about North Korea and their missiles, we heard that we had about 6 months to a year left before they had the capability of hitting the United States. So what has happened with that, John?
You know, I think the interesting thing here is last time John Sherry was even on the Jim Bakker show, he said when North Korea, when he launched it on July 4th, that there wouldn't be much time before they advance again. And so he was absolutely correct, because it hadn't even been 3 weeks since their previous launch that they've launched this next one. And a matter of fact, it's even gone to the extent that they have been testing submarines off of the Sea of Japan and also in the Yellow Sea, where they go out on a mission for a week at a time. And they've been even planning on being able to launch from those submarines, which they've been testing, and their last one was successful.
Now, this has gone to even the next level. North Korea has not really just released 1, nor 2, nor 3, but 4 different attack locations in the United States of America. John, where are those locations?
Well, check this out. North Korea has targeted, and we have seen them reveal these different places. San Diego is one, which serves as PACOM's home port, where a majority of the U.S. Navy ships will be deployed as a response to a North Korea attack. Also, the Washington, D.C. is an obvious target, as well as Austin, Texas. Now, Austin, Texas came as a little surprise. I'm not really sure, other than a massive amount of people, that would create a huge casualty, but that was shocking.
Yes. Well, I grew up in Austin. That makes me a little sad, but I know it is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States.
Also, it is the capital of our biggest state in America, so they may be trying to prove a point by doing that.
That's right.
John, there's actually a story about the Pentagon, and investigators are finding security risks in government immigration programs.
Yes,
Tell us about that.
As a matter of fact, the Pentagon program has enrolled more than 10,000 immigrants into military since 2009 and has discovered to be a potential security risk. The program failed to properly vet immigrants, and Department of Defense officials have not presented answers to questions about missing enrollees, such as where are they, what do they know, where are they serving, and what are their numbers. What do we know about what's going on? We know that ISIS has always had the desire to use immigration as a way to penetrate countries, and they have done so successfully in Europe because of open borders and mass immigration with no vetting.
Now, the thing is, we love immigrants. We are a country that is a melting pot, and we love that, but there has to be a vetting process. Yeah. I'll continue to say this and say this and say this until my face turns blue. We love immigration. We are not against immigration. That doesn't mean we want people to stop coming into this beautiful country called America that is such a melting pot. But the thing is, there must be vetting because of reasons like this. Because, you know, ISIS is coming in through our southern border. They're hopping on, you know, buses and things with the Mexicans and the other Hispanics coming up from our southern border, and they're pretty much infiltrating without us even knowing.
Now, what I do want to say is, shocking as this may be to some of our viewers, a WND article from 2011 says that penetration by radical agents is worse than we thought. Guantanamo says that the stated Muslim Brotherhood strategy is change from within, and that includes the installation of loyal brothers into political offices. Guantanamo blames advances of the Brotherhood figures on political correctness and lax vetting at government agencies. Even the FBI has noted that an Iranian-born Muslim has taken over the agency's weapons of mass destruction program.
So am I hearing this right? That there are, you know, immigrants in the military, which is great, but there's no information about them. All that information is missing.
So far, since they brought them in, here's one major thing that they did that was a major problem, is when they came in, everybody was forced to take a background check. But they were approved and they were passed through the system before their background check was okayed. So they're already implemented into the Pentagon program. Now, the Pentagon, I understand, is that they're wanting people from outside the United States that have certain skill, ability, one, to be able to understand the language, be able to read it, be able to write it, and be able to communicate it. Now, what best is to look outside the United States for people who live and breathe in that environment. So what's happening is they've been trained, they know certain information, they're around the Pentagon, and these people have now vanished.
So what you're saying is it could almost be like a war started from the United States internally.
Well, I'm sorry, but that immediately makes me look at our government right now and what President Trump is trying to fight, and the leaks that keep coming out of the White House.
You know, Luke 21:9 says, "But when you hear about rumors and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not near." But, you know, the Bible says clearly in Matthew 24 also that there will be wars and rumors of wars. And these are things that, yes, may seem scary. You know, immigrants are infiltrating our military, really. North Korea has put out 4 different locations of the United States that they want to bomb. If that doesn't sound like wars and rumors of wars, I don't know what is. But this isn't a time to be terrified. This isn't a time to be scared. Jesus says himself, don't be terrified, because if your house is built on sand, yes, you're going to be terrified when a storm comes. But if your house is built on the rock that is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, you will not be scared when a storm comes, because you know that your foundation is strong enough to handle it. And if you are not in a good Bible-believing church, or if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, take that step of faith today and go ahead and say, Jesus, I want to accept you in my life as my Lord and Savior. So when I know things and tribulations and wars and rumors of wars happen, that I will have my house built on a foundation called you, called the cross and what you've done for us, that we can enter eternal salvation because of that. Now, I do, before we leave the broadcast today, want to give a very, very sad but positive announcement. And I don't know how you can put the two together, but you know, we're happy and sad at the same time. Our very own Cora Curzan has an announcement to make to everyone.
Yes, this will be my last episode of Revelation the News. It's time for me to go back to college, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, actually. But, and, you know, continue being the editor of the newspaper there. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching this summer and being a part of the transition of Revelation in the News. It has just been an honor being able to share the news through a biblical worldview with everyone. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. And I just really hope the best for all of you guys.
No, Cora, I just want to ask you, like, what grade are you in and what are you studying? People want to know.
Well, I am a senior in college. I go to College of the Ozarks here in the Branson, Missouri area. And I'm studying journalism.
Oh,
if that wasn't obvious
Perfect.
already. I'm pretty passionate about that.
Well, Cora, we want to thank you for all your service here to Morningside, really over the last 4 years that you've been serving us so faithfully, and I know God's going to honor every moment of that. And until next time, Cora, do you want to go ahead and say off?
Of course. Until next time, this is Revelation in the News.